Manny Pacquiao is coming back. At 46 years old, 4 years since he last stepped into the ring. And he's doing it not in an exhibition, not for charity, but to chase another world title against a younger, active champion, Mario Barrios. It's bold, it's historic, but it's dangerous. Oscar De La Hoya, a man who shared the ring with Pacquiao, just issued a powerful warning. Respectful, but real. And it speaks to something every boxing fan fears. Can heart alone defeat youth and timing? Today, we break down everything. The warning, the risk, the war that's coming on July 19th. Because this isn't just a fight. This is a legacy gamble. And the stakes? Higher than ever. Manny Pacquiao stood in the ring, gloves down, breathing heavy. Not from exhaustion, but from something heavier. Finality. August 2021, Las Vegas. The lights were bright. The expectations were massive. He was supposed to fight Errol Spence Jr. A super fight, a send-off, a clash of eras. But fate intervened. Spence pulled out. Injury. In came Eudenis Ugas, a late replacement, a technical boxer, a Cuban problem Pacquiao didn't prepare for. But Pacquiao, being Pacquiao, didn't back out. He never does. That's the fighter in him. The warrior, the servant of the ring. And so he fought. Not for money, not for glory, but because he felt the fire. The fire that's burned since he was a barefoot boy in General Santos. But something was different that night. He was slower, just a second too late. His timing, once deadly, was off. His legs, once unstoppable, were heavy. Ugas jabbed, and jabbed, and jabbed again. Pacquiao tried to charge in, but the angles weren't there. He was getting countered, touched, timed, and by round 6, the crowd could feel it. This wasn't vintage Pacquiao. This was a legend trying to outrun time. And time, in boxing, is undefeated. By the final bell, the arena was silent. Not because it was a bad fight, but because it felt like an ending. The decision came. Unanimous. Ugas raised his hand. Pacquiao smiled. That same humble grin he's always had. But behind the smile was something else. Reflection. Maybe regret. Maybe realization. He had done so much, conquered so much, and now it seemed the story was complete. The record was 62 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, 40 knockouts, 8 weight divisions. The only man to do it, ever. And he walked away with grace. No announcement, no tears, just silence. And then came the waiting, the wondering. Would he return? Or would that be the last time we saw the fire? Years passed. He dabbled in politics, family, charity. He stayed in shape, but he stayed away, and the world moved on. New champions rose. New fans came in. But the question lingered. What if? What if Manny wasn't done? What if that wasn't the ending? 4 years later, July 2025, we have our answer. He's coming back. Against Mario Barrios. Not a tune-up. Not an exhibition. A world title fight. WBC welterweight crown. Same arena. Same city. Same old Manny? We don't know. But what we do know is this. Pacquiao is risking everything. His legacy. His health. His history. Because he doesn't just want to fight. He wants to win. And if he does, he breaks his own record. Becomes the oldest welterweight world champion in history. Again, at 46. That's the man we're dealing with. That's the story we're about to witness. A living legend, with nothing to prove, but everything to risk. And it all started with that night against Ugas. The silence. The questions. The itch. Now, the silence is over. The storm is coming. Oscar De La Hoya knows what it's like to be Manny Pacquiao. He knows the lights, the roar of the crowd, the pressure to be ageless. To fight like you're still 30 when your body is screaming that you're 40. He's been there. He lived it. And he paid the price. In 2008, it was Manny who ended De La Hoya's career. One-sided, painful, and unforgettable. De La Hoya walked into that fight as the favorite. Bigger, stronger, the golden boy. But Manny made him look old, made him look slow, made him look like yesterday. De La Hoya couldn't pull the trigger, couldn't keep up. He sat on his stool after the 8th round and never got up. Retirement followed. Humility followed. But so did respect. Because Oscar never hated Manny for it. He admired him. He watched Pacquiao go on to dominate bigger men. Cotto, Plotty, Margarito, Mosley, Bradley, even Thurman. The wins piled up. The belts returned. And now, all these years later, Manny is doing what Oscar once tried. A comeback at 46. Oscar's watching it from the outside now. Older, wiser, and as he speaks to the media, his tone isn't jealous. It's protective. It's honest. He doesn't criticize Pacquiao. He respects the move. But he warns. He understands that fire inside. That itch. That hunger. But he knows what it cost him. He knows what it did to Roy Jones Jr. What it did to Bernard Hopkins. What almost did to Tyson. He knows that in boxing, age isn't just a number. It's a countdown, and it never resets. So when Oscar De La Hoya speaks, the world listens. On Ariel Helwani's show, Oscar kept it real. You can't tell a fighter when to retire, he said. And he's right. Only the fighter knows. Only the fighter feels that pulse. That pull toward the ring. But Oscar continued. Be careful, he said. You're facing a young guy. That's the part that hits hard. Because it's not just a fight. It's a collision between now and then. Between youth and legend. And Oscar sees what fans may not. Mario Barrios isn't an all-time great. But he's young. He's hungry. He's fresh. And he's got everything to gain. A win over Pacquiao makes him a star. A real one. The new face of 147. That's the danger. And Oscar knows it. He's been the older guy fighting the fast one. He remembers the punches that landed before he could blink. The footwork that confused him. He doesn't want Pacquiao to feel that. Not the way he did. He doesn't want Pacquiao's story to end the way his did. On the stool. No answers. Just silence. That's why Oscar's warning matters. It comes from scars. It comes from pain. But also from love for the sport. From love for warriors who can't walk away. Oscar isn't telling Pacquiao to quit. He's telling him to be smart. To prepare like never before. To respect the danger. Because Mario Barrios isn't a legend. He's a threat. And threats don't care about legacy. They come to erase it. Oscar knows that. And now Pacquiao must face it. July 19th. Same arena. Same pressure. Same whispers of doubt. But a different time. Oscar just hopes Manny makes it out clean. Whatever the result. Because sometimes surviving the comeback is a victory in itself. Mario Barrios doesn't talk much. He doesn't need to. His fists do the talking. He's not flashy. He's not viral. But he's dangerous. And that's exactly why he's the most underrated threat Pacquiao could face. Born in San Antonio, Texas. Humble beginnings. Blue-collar roots. No silver spoon. Just gloves and grit. He came up the hard way. Through smoke-filled gyms and back-alley sparring wars. Fighting for respect. Fighting for a shot. And when the shot came, he took it. WBA super lightweight title. The kid was tall, lean, sharp. He made his name beating veterans, knocking out prospects. And then came Gervonta Tank Davis. That was his moment. A pay-per-view star. Huge stage. High stakes. He boxed well early. Used his jab. Moved. Scored. But Tank hunted him. Dropped him. Finished him. Barrios lost. But he didn't break. He didn't make excuses. He didn't hide. He moved up to 147. Started fresh. Fought Keith Thurman, another legend. And again, he lost. But he never quit. He learned. He studied. He adjusted. Then came redemption. A brutal beatdown of Giovanni Santiago. Then Abel Ramos. And then a dominant win over Ydenis Ugas. Yes, The same Yugas who beat Pacquiao in 2021. Barrios boxed smart, jabbed long, countered crisp, dropped Yugas, controlled him. He wasn't flashy, he was surgical. And that one changed everything. It earned him the WBC interim belt. Then it became the full WBC welterweight championship. Just like that, Barrios was the new king at 147. And the world barely noticed. Because Barrios doesn't chase headlines. He chases legacies. And now, here comes the opportunity of a lifetime. Manny Pacquiao, the icon, the legend, the golden ticket. Barrios knows what this fight means. A win puts him in every headline. A win makes him a pay-per-view headliner. A win cements his place in boxing history. He's not just coming to defend his belt. He's coming to take Manny's name. That's what makes him so dangerous. He's not angry. He's not loud. He's focused, locked in. This isn't personal. It's business. He's younger, taller, naturally bigger. And now he's confident because he knows what Oscar De La Hoya knows. He's not fighting the 2009 Pacquiao. He's fighting a 46-year-old version. A legend with greatness in his blood, but age in his legs. Barrios will use that. He'll jab long. He'll stay behind his reach. He'll drag Pacquiao into the later rounds. Force him to think. Force him to chase. Then punish the mistakes. That's how he beats legends. Not with power. With patience. With discipline. He doesn't want a war. He wants to shut out. That's Mario Barrios. Quiet. Deadly. Unmoved by legacy. And he's coming for everything Pacquiao has left. They say time is undefeated. They say age slows everyone. They say 46 is too old for boxing. But they forget who we're talking about. This is Manny Pacquiao. This isn't just any fighter. This is the man who rewrote history, who walked through divisions like a wrecking ball, who beat legends across 4 decades. Speed? Still there. Maybe not as fast, but still faster than most welterweights today. Power? Still stuns. He dropped Thurman, a younger, stronger, fresher champion, and made him respect the name. Footwork? Maybe not constant like 2009, but explosive in bursts. Deadly when timed right. And that's the thing. Pacquiao doesn't need to dominate every second. He just needs the right second. He's not about volume anymore. He's about impact. And impact is something Manny's mastered. He knows when to explode, knows how to shift angles, how to bait a jab, how to counter off rhythm. This is where experience becomes a weapon. You can't train for Pacquiao's timing. You can't replicate his movements. You can only react. And by the time you react, it's too late. Ask Hatton. Ask Cotto. Ask Margarito. Ask Thurman. Pacquiao has always been underestimated before fights, and then feared after, because there's something about his will. That inner fire. It doesn't flicker. It burns constantly. He's a proud man, but he's a humble warrior. He trains like he's broke, fights like he's still hungry, because he is hungry for greatness, for history, for one last memory. This comeback isn't about proving fans wrong. It's about proving he's still capable of something special. He's not trying to be 28 again. He's trying to be the best version of himself at 46. And that version is still dangerous. Still capable of 12 rounds. Still capable of that southpaw explosion. Still capable of breaking young men down. Not with volume, but with wisdom. Because Pacquiao doesn't need to win every round. He just needs the right moment. And he's built his career on moments. Knockdowns, momentum shifts, sudden storms. That's what Barrios has never faced. Someone with this much knowledge of pain, this much familiarity with chaos. Pacquiao is a veteran of wars, not point fighting contests. Real wars, where everything is risked, where only heart survives. Barrios may be fresher, but has he bled in championship rounds? Has he traded in the fire? Has he fought someone with nothing left to prove, but everything to lose? Because that's Pacquiao now. He's not fighting for money. He's not fighting for fame. He's fighting for the last page in his book. And he wants that page to say, still champion. Even now, he wants to hear Michael Buffer say his name one more time. He wants to lift that belt one more time. He wants to prove that 46 is just a number, not a ceiling. That legends don't fade, they rise again. This isn't just a comeback. It's a declaration. That greatness never dies. Every punch thrown on July 19th won't just land on skin. It will land on legacy. This fight isn't just about belts. It's about identity, about time, about the past, the present, and the uncertain future. For Manny Pacquiao, it could be the final chapter. A win? It rewrites everything. He would become the oldest welterweight world champion in history. Again, he would silence every doubter. He would leave the sport not just as a legend, but as an ageless phenomenon. It would be one of the greatest sports stories ever told. An ex-senator, a retired icon, returning after 4 years to defeat a young champion. It would put his name back in headlines, back in GOAT conversations. It would show the world that greatness isn't tied to age, that willpower beats youth, that purpose beats odds. But what if he loses? What if time finally catches him? The speed fades, the chin gives, the timing slips, and Barrios takes over. Then what? Will fans remember the comeback? Or will they only remember the fall? Will they celebrate the attempt? Or question the decision? That's the risk Pacquiao faces. That's the weight he carries. Every round, every exchange, every heartbeat. But he accepts it because he's not afraid of losing. He's afraid of not trying. And then there's Barrios. For him, this is the moment. This is his chance to escape the shadows, to walk out of that ring no longer as just a champion, but as the man who retired Manny Pacquiao. That's heavy, but it's real. A win for Barrios puts him in the spotlight. Pay-per-view contracts, global recognition, pound-for-pound lists. He becomes the face of the division. He earns respect. He earns fear. But if he loses, everything crashes. He'll be the young lion who got tamed by the old lion. The champ who got schooled by a 46-year-old. That's the humiliation he's trying to avoid. Because boxing is cruel and unforgiving. Fans forget fast. You're only as good as your last performance. So this isn't just a title defense for Barrios. It's survival. It's transformation. It's war. And that's why this fight matters. It's not just about who has the better jab or who trained harder. It's about who can live with the consequences. Because someone's career shifts on July 19th. Someone leaves stronger. Someone leaves shattered. For Pacquiao, this could be a final gift to fans. A farewell painted in gold, or a farewell bathed in blood. For Barrios, it's validation or devastation. And for boxing, it's a reminder that the sport is still full of stories, of risk, of heartbreak, of impossible victories. 2 men, 2 timelines, 1 ring, and only 1 winner. The stakes couldn't be higher. The date is set. The contract is signed. The arena is waiting. July 19th, MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas, the same city where Manny Pacquiao became a god. The same ring where careers are made and destroyed. The world will watch, not because it's a mega fight, but because it might be the last fight. And there's something sacred about watching a legend take the stage one more time. Pacquiao doesn't owe boxing anything. He gave it everything. His youth, his blood, his soul. But still, he returns. Because something inside won't let go. Not yet. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's belief. Maybe it's both. For Pacquiao, this isn't a fight against Barrios. It's a fight against time. Against silence. Against the idea that his story is already written. He refuses to let others write the final page. He wants the ink in his own hands. That's why this fight is terrifying. Because legends don't die quietly. They go out swinging. And Barrios? He's ready. Quiet. Cold. Focused. He's not there for nostalgia. He's not there to celebrate Manny's legacy. He's there to end it. To make his name by burning another. To walk through the smoke of greatness and raise his arms in victory. He knows what a win does for him. It changes everything. Suddenly, he's not the guy who lost to Tank Davis. He's the guy who retired Pacquiao. And that label stays forever. But that's the thing. Pacquiao has heard it all before. Too small, too old, too slow. And time after time, he proved them wrong. He beat bigger men, faster men, younger men. Now, he faces the final test. Can he do it again? Can he turn back the clock one more time? The bell will ring. The crowd will roar. But inside the ropes, silence, focus, breath, then movement, jab, slip, counter. It begins. Barrios will try to control range, try to drag the old lion into deep waters. But Pacquiao has been drowning in those waters his whole life. He thrives there. His punches don't come in singles. They come in storms. His footwork doesn't dance. It attacks. And Barrios will feel it. He'll feel the history in those fists. Every punch will carry the weight of a career, the weight of a nation, the weight of a generation that grew up watching this man. And yet, he's human. One clean shot from Barrios, it could end it. That's the drama. That's the fear. That's the hook. Because on July 19th, the outcome isn't written. It's not scripted. It's not guaranteed. It will be decided by grit, by timing, by one man refusing to fall, and another refusing to wait. One will rise, one will fall, and the world will remember. Not just who won, but how they fought, how they stood, how they faced the storm. Because boxing is more than a sport. It's a memory machine. It carves stories into our minds. And this fight, it could be the final masterpiece of Manny Pacquiao, or the first chapter in the rise of Mario Barrios. Either way, it will be unforgettable. July 19th isn't just another date on the boxing calendar. It's a collision between two eras. Two men walking into the same ring for very different reasons. For Mario Barrios, it's a chance to prove he belongs with the elite, to etch his name in boxing history by beating one of the greatest ever. But for Manny Pacquiao, this is different. This isn't about fame, not about fortune. This is personal. This is spiritual. This is legacy. Because greatness doesn't ask for permission. It dares to return when the world says stay gone. And Pacquiao, he's dared his whole life. From poverty to presidency. From unknown to icon. He's broken records, defied logic, and outlived every doubt. But on July 19th, we find out something deeper. We find out what happens when pride stands face to face with youth. When heart tries to outrun time. And when history whispers one final question. Do you still have one more in you? We'll find out soon enough. Because in boxing, the truth can't hide behind hype. Only one hand will be raised. And when that moment comes, we'll know if we've just witnessed the last miracle of a legend or the beginning of a new king. Whichever it is, don't blink. Because legacy doesn't retire. It fights until the final bell. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dive fight stories, legacy breakdowns, and raw boxing analysis. Drop a comment below. Who wins on July 19th and what's truly at stake? And if you believe greatness never ages, hit that like button for the warrior spirit of Manny Pacquiao.